Texas and Arkansas have a storied rivalry featuring one of the most famous games in college football back in 1969. Although today's game wasn't of that magnitude, it was significant as it was the team's official return to the rivalry as conference opponents. The UT women's basketball team will go for their third in a row tomorrow in Chicago when they take on DePaul. Tip-off is set for 6:30. In Coach Sark's second ever game at Texas, the Longhorns traveled to Fayetteville and lost 40-21. That really be a wake-up call for that program, which would set in motion a 5-7 season. Those players in that 2021 game can really now reflect and appreciate the success that Texas football has now, as they're one of the most consistent programs in college football. And they say the difference now is that they are fully bought in to Sark's culture. Texas football is no longer the only undefeated team in the SEC, but they're in a pretty similar situation as they were last season. In the 2023 season, Texas would lose to Oklahoma in pretty much the middle of regular season play, but then they would go to win out all their games remaining after that. The loss to Georgia definitely hurt, but Sark said that every game from now on is going to be an SEC championship, but this team really has to rely on their veteran leaders. Ahead of Saturday's game, where Texas played the Aggies for the first time in 13 years, their bus route made sure to go through all the A&M fans before they got in the stadium. And instead of rattling the Texas team, all it did was make them lock in, according to Sark. Saturday's game wouldn't be the first time the Longhorns had nearly 110,000 fans rooting against them as they went to Arkansas to renew the Southwest rivalry, went to the Big House to play the reigning national champions, Michigan, went to the Cotton Bowl and won at Kyle Field. And if anything, this team says they like being the villain, and that'll help them as they go to Atlanta to basically have another road game. Texas football has had an emotional past 3 weeks, going from the Arkansas game to senior night to then the A&M game. But if anything, Sark has praised this team's ability to turn the page, and they've treated almost every game as an SEC championship throughout the season. But for this Saturday, it actually is one. But for now, at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium, Campbell Choate, KXAN News. If you told Texas fans last season that the Longhorns would end conference play 11-1 and head to the college football playoff semifinals for the first time ever, a lot of them would buy in. Now, if you said that one loss was to Oklahoma, maybe not so much. Oklahoma scored the game-winning touchdown with 15 seconds left in the game, and we all know the Red River rivalry has gone back and forth for years. But Sark said one thing that's going to change from the last game to this one is playing with emotions, but not being emotional. But that doesn't mean that loss did not hurt. And as Michael Taft said,
I specifically remember everything. I don't forget.
The #1 team in college football plays right here at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium. And the last time you could say that was almost 16 years ago when Texas hosted Oklahoma State. Now that they're back to #1, a lot of people outside the Texas football program are really excited about the new #1 ranking. But Sark says that internally, they're trying not to make it a big focus. It's a little bit cooler tonight, and it's getting darker earlier, which means one thing. It's almost time for playoff football in Texas. Tonight, in the second to last week of the regular season, Bastrop Bears and the Pflugerville Panthers, two teams that have really established themselves in this district, developing every year and becoming one of the top 3 teams to lead their district. For Bastrop, they have 2 of their bigger games toward the end of their season, with Pflugerville tonight and the only other undefeated team in district play, Liberty Hill, next week. So tonight's going to be a statement game. It might give us a better picture of who's going to win district play. But for now in Pflugerville, Campbell Choate, KXAN News. In just 5 days, Texas will face the reigning national champion Michigan in the Big House with over 100,000 fans rooting against them. But just a year ago, Texas was in a pretty similar situation when they traveled to Tuscaloosa to play #3 Bama. Texas pulled out a fourth quarter win, and they were able to prove what they're capable of in big games and to find those big moments. Texas football is no longer the only undefeated team in the SEC, but they're in a pretty similar situation as they were last season. In the 2023 season, Texas would lose to Oklahoma in pretty much the middle of regular season play, but then they would go to win out all their games remaining after that. The loss to Georgia definitely hurt, but Sark said that every game from now on is going to be an SEC championship, but this team really has to rely on their veteran leaders.
You know, I think a lot of young guys that hadn't been exposed to this before, just kind of thinking it was the end of the world, and you know, we got to take that upon ourselves, the leadership council, to, like I said before, stay consistent, keep bringing guys along.
We know what a loss can do to a team, where you lose and then the next week you're still thinking about that same game and you end up losing again. This week is a good test on our leadership to see how we treat this week. Are we going to still dwell on what happened, or are we going to get back to work and work to beat Vandy?
Both Alfred Collins and Gunnar Helm said that David Benda was one of the first people to talk to the team after the loss to Georgia in order to help them turn the page and focus on Vandy instead.
It's a message of positivity, you know. This wasn't going to define our season. We left a lot out there, and I just wanted the team to know that we still have everything in front of us. We just need to keep on working day in and day out.
Calvin Banks said today that his entire trust is in quarterback Quinn Ewers, even after he got sat in the second quarter against Georgia. And Sark also reiterated that Quinn's a starting quarterback, and they'll need that faith in him as they head to Nashville to play a ranked Vanderbilt team who has some credibility after beating Alabama. But for now, at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium, Campbell Choate, KXAN News. Texas and Arkansas have a storied rivalry featuring one of the most famous games in college football back in 1969. Although today's game wasn't of that magnitude, it was significant as it was the team's official return to the rivalry as conference opponents. Fans are ready for the Longhorns in Razorback Stadium for the 80th matchup between Texas and Arkansas, with a lot of horns down being thrown around the stadium. First quarter, Taylon Green's pass is intercepted by Jahdae Brown. He was on fire yesterday, recording his 4th interception of the season and ending the game with 7 total tackles. Then Ewers for a 20-yard touchdown pass to Matthew Golden, rolling to the right, and then Golden is in. For the first score of the game, Texas up 7-0. Then the third quarter, Texas up 13-0. Arkansas's Jaquindon Jackson gets a 12-yard run for the first down, going off to the outside. And that proved to be pretty important, as just 2 plays later, 1-yard touchdown for Jackson to get in the end zone. Arkansas's first and only touchdown of the game. Arkansas on the board for 13-7. Then in the fourth quarter, Texas up 13-10. Jaden Blue runs, fumbles, but luckily for him, it's going to roll off to the side at Arkansas's 14-yard line for a 28-yard gain. Then ball at the 1, Ewers touchdown pass to Matthew Golden. Longhorns up 20-10 after this one. 2 feet in for Golden, and then his 8th touchdown of the season. Next drive for Arkansas, C.J. Brown gets the pass, but Alfred Collins forces the fumble and is recovered by Texas's Michael Taft. Longhorns win 20-10 over their old Southwest Conference rival, improving 5-1 in the SEC and 9-1 overall for the 2nd straight year, and they lead the SEC now. Longhorn men hosted Mississippi Valley State in the mood today, and it was a close game early on. Arthur Kaluma drives and makes the layup. Longhorns up 5 after that. Then in the second half, Texas is up by 8. You're going to see here Kaluma passes to Trey Johnson for the 3, and Texas up by 11. That recruit seems to be looking pretty good in his freshman year. Game is starting to get a little out of hand here now. Johnson with the 3, 18 points for the freshman from Garland. Then a little later, Kaluma drives, and he's going to make a reverse layup, making it look just so easy. And Longhorns are up by 30. Kaluma ends with 18 points. Texas wins 89-43 for their 3rd straight win. Longhorns are undefeated in non-conference games at the Moody Center. The UT women's basketball team will go for their 3rd in a row tomorrow in Chicago when they take on DePaul. Tip-off is set for 6:30. Homecoming in San Marcos tonight for G.J. Kinney's Texas State squad facing Southern Miss. First quarter with no score, Jordan McLeod touchdown pass to Ishmael Mahdi, 7-0 Bobcats. Then late in the first, up 14-0. Backup quarterback Brad Jackson is in the end zone for an 11-yard touchdown run, up 21-0 for Texas State. Then again late in the first half, 27-3, Jordan McLeod 15-yard touchdown pass to Ishmael Mahdi. Texas State up 34-3 after that one. 4 touchdown passes for McLeod. Bobcats win 58-3, and they're bowl eligible 2 years in a row now, with a lot of people jumping in the San Marcos River to celebrate that one. A Central Texas reunion took place in Pittsburgh today, with Pitt hosting the 20th ranked Clemson. Lake Travis alum Nate Yarnell gets an 8-yard touchdown pass to Gavin Bartholomew to tie the game at 17. He had 350 passing yards on the day. Then under 2 minutes left, Pitt up 20-17. Westlake alum Kate Klubnik gets a 50-yard touchdown run to win the game for the Tigers. Clemson wins 24-20, and that's your final score for PA. That's it for sports tonight. I'm Campbell Choate, live in studio.